Hello, everyone. This is Tyler from Doubleton Records, and I'm here with Raxer Sound. Is that how you pronounce your name? Is it Raxer?
Yes, it's Raxer. Well, a lot of people say Raxer, but I really don't care.
Raxer. So this is Raxer Sound. This is the very first artist interview. Very excited. I know I've been promising in August that I'd be starting to do this. Um, for anybody who doesn't know, this is something that we do for our VIP members. The VIP is anyone that we play on any of our curator playlist stations or that we support. You can find the list on devlinsound.com under artists we support. It's pretty awesome. So, welcome, Raxer. I hope your day has been well. We had some technical difficulties
Yes.
before we switched to Zoom, so I think we'll be using Zoom from here on out on this stuff. So we're gonna see how this goes. None of this is scripted, so just like practically everything I do, everything is unscripted. So yeah, let's get straight into it. So, welcome, Raxer.
Well, thank you for having me here. I'm a little bit nervous, but well, let's see how it works.
well, well, thanks. Sure. I probably will have to edit some of this after.
Yes, maybe.
Well, all right. Well, I had some questions for you written down. So part of it, I did lie a little. Part of it is scripted because I have some questions written down. So I kind of want to ask the first question: why Raxer? And why is your logo? It looks like what was it? Those that you
Yes.
put on your face? It's like a sleeping mask. Like I've just been kind of curious
Yes.
about that.
Okay. It is a little bit confusing, but well, Raxer sound. If you find the word, okay, in well any dictionary, like it's a word that means to steal something. Okay. Okay. Rax
Oh.
to rack something in like an urban way to say it. It's to steal something, and basically, it's the person who steals the sound. Okay. Basically, it's a little bit this, and well,
This sound thief.
basically also because when I was a little bit younger, people use that name to refer to me, so it was also a little bit for this reason. But also, if you talking me for the icon, basically, I love what is called a ninja. Okay, that Japanese type of Japanese culture, and I was searching when I started making my own profile, my own icon, and I found a ninja with that mask, that style of mask, and it was just this. I can pass you also if you want my original icon, and you will see how it was originally, and then I just added, I think, the musical notes that there are one of all the rhythms. It's called the round. I don't know in my idiom it's something like that in my language, but it's called the round. Okay, and I use that for the eye of my character, and then I use another thing, and I made like well uh, an icon with that. So then I started my career in the university, and the teacher of design, the design teacher, said me, "This is so complex, people don't like it. Use something more easy." And he did me this icon I have now, and I really loved it. So basically, this is the story behind.
Well, that's actually kind of interesting. I
Yeah.
I wasn't too sure, and I love it when I hear about like different like logos, what everybody kind of like comes up with. Like mine, for example. If people don't know, Snova, it's a whole helmet thing, but it's like super complicated. It's got a
Yeah.
lot. It's got a bit of a story to it, but it's always interesting to hear with artists like there's stories behind their names and logos. Some people are just like, my friend said this, and it just stuck, and I was like,
Yeah.
hey, that's sometimes it's just like that. Sometimes you got a nice big story behind it. So I think one of the first tracks you sent me before, right, was or at least when I found you was "Cook on Fire."
Yes.
Yeah. So I honestly love that remix. I have to say, if anyone doesn't know, Raxer Sound is very underrated artist. You guys should definitely support him. Some very good music. Awesome
Well,
remix too.
thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, in this case, that remix was one of the first I did, um, basically of that style, because inside the main style that is called bass house, there are a
Mm.
lot of different types, like slap house, or well, there are a lot of variety. And basically taking the growls usually dubstep has, you can make something more in more 128 BPM, sorry, that it's the rhythm of house. So I did something like this basically.
Yeah. Honestly, I love bass house, so I was pretty thrilled to see that. It is kind of nice to see that bass house is kind of getting more variety. I mean, before everyone was kind of sounding like Jaws or
Yeah.
was it AC Slater and stuff like that. Like everyone was just kind of like sound the same, and I was kind of concerned because I was like, oh no, is this gonna happen to like what Future Bass happened? And I was so, but then like I'm kind of glad kind of people pulled through and like it didn't end up like Tropical House because I mean to be quite honest, I've put 3 Tropical House tracks together like side by side and just played at random different parts, and they almost all just flowed perfectly together because they just sound so similar or the same.
Yes, because basically I think tropical house uses so much, and it's I think I shout out my call, and I think that a tropical house artist has to not use that much the piano, because it uses the piano in each song. And well, I think it could be a little bit more creative to make some sounding different. I don't know, but I love tropical house. It
Yeah.
was one of my starting in the house music, my starts. So well, basically this.
Yeah, for me it was deep house, but
Oh
and like and trop I have a little bit of tropical house, but yeah, I would say also the marimba guitar I think are like the two other like big ones that like you just hear in every
yeah,
single one. I don't think like instrumentation wise, it's not that. It's just that when a genre gets so restricted to us, because in tropical house everything is pretty happy sounding. Like name 10 songs that are tropical house that are like sad sounding or have like a deeper undertone, and then
no.
that's just yeah, it's like deep house. So like I think for like a lot of unfortunately with tropical house is that it's restricted to certain keys signatures that can, like certain chord progressions, certain keys, so there are some
Yes,
things that you can't do.
that is what I wanted to say. Chord progressions.
Mm,
The typical chord progression, it's called the fundamental, then the fourth, five, and the
yeah.
sixth chord, and nothing more.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's like that, and like future bass too. I mean, there are some. Don't get me wrong, there are some future bass songs out there, but most of the popular future bass and most of the future bass that you commonly hear is going to be sounding like Marshmello, and that's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. And I say Marshmello loosely because, again, they still have their own sounds. It's just that with future bass, in my opinion, it's like everything is too happy sounding. Whereas trap music, for example, which future bass came a little bit from, that's where part of future bass came from is
Yeah.
trap. Like the beats and stuff are mainly trap based, and so is in
Well, basically
subs.
like dubstep and a little bit more. So
Yeah, and it's like you take the high ends and the like the you take like melodic dubstep and you take trap beats, cut out. I would probably say a lot of the bass parts, like the heavy bass drop parts,
well, you have
and then
just
you
a
got
bass
future bass.
doing, well, Jay, basically doing the bass without that gritty sound, and you
Mm,
have future bass.
yeah, so it's like it's always interesting to kind of hear, but it's cool to hear your take on that because it's like it's different. So I would probably want to ask too, like, who are some artists that you look up to?
What? I didn't listen to you.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. I said, what artists do you look up to?
I really don't know, because I have a lot, but I think it may be the usual ones. So I don't. If you go more specifically, I can tell you.
Like which ones probably like inspired you to like to write music or to create music?
Okay, I'm going to tell you the truth behind this, because I had, well, basically, when I started listening to music, electronic dance music, was when I was, I think, 12 years old. And I started listening to Pegboard Nerds. I don't know if you know this artist.
Vaguely.
Pegboard Nerds. And a song called, I think, frame breeze or brain freeze or something like this. I don't know. It was a glitch hop track.
Oh, okay. Probably
Okay.
not then. I was thinking, I'm like, actually, I might have heard Brain Freeze. Although I'm probably thinking of Slushy now.
Ah, okay, but well, slushy it's more like dubstep directly.
Yeah.
I love slushy. It's one of my favorite because I knew slushy thanks to Tokyo Machine
Oh,
because
yeah, Tokyo Machine.
Tokyo Machine is one of my idols in production in music production because his songs are basically an orchestra of synths, okay, and they are amazing. It's all in his side, all that different of the others. It's fucking amazing. Sorry for, but it's amazing. His music.
Oh, no worries. This no no filter at all on here. It's perfectly fine. I mean, this isn't gonna get monetized anyway, so
Okay,
it's just
okay,
going on YouTube. But
okay, okay.
oh crap! I just spat on my mic accidentally. Oh man.
You'll have to do something.
Oh, gotta scrub that sucker. After. Yeah, I would say definitely Tokyo Machine. I didn't really listen to Tokyo Machine growing up. I have a very different palette. I grew up listening to electronic when I was really young, but
Mhm.
um that's actually really cool. So what would you probably say, like, if you had to like name a couple like instruments like that you like the most, like virtual instruments or real instruments, like what do you like to use?
The are you saying synths or
Sure.
instrument? Okay, synths. If we are talking about synths, well, basically, Serum for me is one of my favorite synths
Mm,
because, well, it's not as, let's say, as professional as um, analogic, let's say, analogic synth, because what you have with an analogic synth, you don't have it in any way. Okay, and analogic synths are the best things you can ever have, but they are, I think, the most expensive sounds you can get.
for
But
sure.
well, I think maybe Serum, and the first the first synthesizer I got, it was called Carbon Electra,
Oh, Carbon.
and yes, and it was, I think, from Plugin Boutique. I think it was
Yeah.
the made with the same company,
Um. Oh
and
crap! Hold on. Actually, I have Carbon on my computer.
yeah,
Um. Oh man. Or I know who the company is, and now I'm blanking on it. But it's definitely not Zephyr. I know that
no,
for
no,
a
it's not that.
no. I think
I know that the founder of the that company, it's called by his surname. It's called Carbon.
UJAM.
Oh, okay. Yes,
You
yes.
talk about UJAM Carbon, the toughest element.
I think so. It is that one. I think.
I oh oh I actually Zoom is really nice. I'll post in the chat box here.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. Boom.
Ah, okay. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so it's that one. So they had a like a synthesizer for starter producers, and basically
Yeah.
it's so basic, the synthesizer, but it had a sound that I use in every song, and it's like an harmony sound, most like a synth
Mm.
that automatizes, I think, a low pass filter, and it's amazing. It sounds pretty cool, and I use it in basically in all my songs.
Well, I'll say never ever knock on Serum because I mean Serum is it's a really good synthesizer. I mean, sure, it's definitely it has some drawback. Like there's some things that I think some synthesizers do better, but like Serum, I know so many artists who use Serum practically in their entire track, and I sit here and I'm like, this button does this thing. I like real sounding. I think that's kind of why I stick to more real world sounding stuff because
Yeah.
I never can just that Serum just for me. I don't know why. I just never really was
Yes,
that
because
big into it.
Serum is a little bit electric sound, just
Yeah. Well, I
I
mean,
think.
yeah, it's a synthesizer, but
No,
so
electric sound. I mean that you cannot make natural sounds. For example, with Massive,
ah,
you can do slap bass, real slap bass, and it sounds natural.
true,
But I
true.
think I think Serum has something more for dubstep, aggressive basses, but not that you cannot make a piano with a piano sound with a serum, I think.
I th- I actually used to be on a community called Audio Tool, and one of the things that a lot of people like, they created out of this thing called a pulverizer and a Heisenberg. Very similar. They're based off the actual real life pulverizer and Heisenberg in real life, the analog synthesizers. And these are synthesizers, mind you. And I know someone created a piano patch, another one created a harp that sound exactly like a harp, and somebody created an actual acoustic guitar from one of them that sound like a guitar. So yeah, I mean, you can do it. It just takes a lot of work, and I
Yeah.
mean, hours of work sound designing. But I've actually there's a couple like patches out there and stuff, specifically with the noise oscillator. You can create certain things. Like I had an air horn once. I created from a patch library for noise, and
Mhm.
I think that's kind of where you can kind of do it. But I see what you mean. It does have more of electric tone,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't say it's impossible. I know some people who've created some
Well, not
real
impossible,
instruments. Yeah, it just takes a
but
lot.
you have to be a professional to do it correctly and have
Yeah.
all the harmonics in their side. Well, it should be very difficult to do it in Serum, I think,
Yeah,
from my experience, at least.
yeah. Because I mean, Serum's not is no Omnisphere, so
Yeah.
Omnisphere is like Serum times 100. I mean, it could do everything Serum does, and then some.
Well, basically, Spitfire, you know the company.
Oh yeah, I've never tried
Spitfire,
Spitfire, so I'm here.
Spitfire has a synthesizer. I don't know the name, but it reproduces all the orchestral sounds,
Oh,
and it lets you also put it on a space.
hold on. I do know this. Spitfire Orchestra. I think it's just
I,
called Spitfire. Or I
I
think it's
guess
just, yeah, it's called Spitfire Symphony Orchestra. I just had to really look it up real quick. Yeah, it's just orchestra by Spitfire Audio.
yes.
Um,
I am opening my Ableton one moment because I have the specific plugin here, and I use it
hmm,
if I want something more like an anthem. I use that because it is
that's
so useful.
awesome. Yeah, I don't own any Spitfire plugins. I know bad me, especially since I write cinematic music professionally. But I use, but that's because I use a lot of stuff like from Native Instruments and stuff, and I do have a couple other string plugins, like for example, Heavy O City. Yeah, Heavy O City is like Novo. It's probably one of my favorite string plugins.
Yes, I know
Oh,
that.
Novo's so good. But so out of curiosity, because now we've just been talking about plugins and stuff, what kind of what DAW do you use? What's your DAW of choice?
I'm gonna tell you. I have here the name of the Spitfire. It's called BBC Symphony Orchestra.
Ah, okay, so it's that one.
Okay,
I
that
know they
one,
have a
that one.
bunch.
I use Ableton.
Ableton.
Yes.
That is a very popular choice for. I. What would you probably say like is like most appealing about Ableton? I love hearing this from artists.
I don't know, but I really have to say that I started with Ableton just because I found in my city um, like a school that had an offer that it was we will make a course making you a really good artist or a really good producer, and it costs $700 I think it cost. And inside that course they give to you the Ableton Live Suite 10, I think.
Oh wow.
Yes, because it's the one I have forever. Okay, and without cost, so free. So you basically were paying 100 euros for the for the course, and the other was the license of the Ableton. Okay,
Okay.
and then I was searching other DAOs, but I think Ableton was the one I like the most. I don't know.
Yeah, I personally never really got into trying out Ableton, but at my school, um, music production kids got Ableton. Us recording arts kids, we got We got Logic Pro X and we got Pro Tools. Now I can't complain. We freaking got Pro Tools and we got like,
Yeah.
and I actually was very lucky because
Yeah.
we got I was the I my class. I think the class after me, so the month after me, I think was the last class to get a perpetual license. Yeah, I think a perpetual a perpetual license. So this is like a lifetime license. So I don't know if you know, but Pro Tools kind of went to this whole paying like X a month. I
Mhm.
recently, because I had to upgrade my Pro Tools because I do mastering engineering,
Mhm.
so I had to upgrade it. But it's like it's relatively cheap because I had a perpetual license, so I got a huge discount. But it's insane, it's crazy. But Pro Tools, I like that's what they kind of gave us. But I always kind of wish we had Ableton because I always wanted to try it out. But no, the music production kids got Ableton, not us.
Yes, I have to say to you that Ableton, one of the things that it has that it's pretty good. The easy things are so intuitive to know where they are, and the advanced things are well a little bit more secret. They are you have to search to go specifically in a site that it's called, well, you have to set something, but well, the basic things, they are so intuitive to know how to use, and I think it's one of the things that I love from Ableton. Also, his interface is is it's simple. It's not that. For example, I think Logic Pro has an interface more like, I don't know, more acoustic. I don't know how to say it. Like
Like more
it
like
has,
live studio or like in like Pro
yes,
Tools or
yes,
something.
yes, 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 yes. And Ableton is more like electric. It's more
Hmm.
I don't know how to say it, but it's easy to know where the things are. Okay.
Yeah, it always looked more organized. I always like appreciate that. So what are probably like what would you say probably like some things that you would give tips on for like anyone who's trying to get into music?
First of all, let me say that I am in this world from my 12-year-old me. Okay, so it's more than 6 7 years. Okay, so if you want to start, what I recommend is, first of all, try to listen as much music as you can, and then try to repeat the same music you hear, okay, in your Ableton. Well, Ableton or the DAW you use, but of course, don't release it. But what you have to do is to start seeing how people structure their music, because the problem of the people that start with music production is that they don't know how to structure their music. They start putting the drop at the start, then the build up, and well, this is not a song, an EDM song. Okay, so if you like music production, start listening to music, and the one you love, the one you have to try to recreate, and then you will grow. Okay, basically
Okay.
all songs are influences. For example, Marshmello, his songs are influences for others of other songs of other artists, but he has that he has listened so a lot of songs, and it is a mix of a lot of songs, and you cannot say this is a copy of that or this is a copy of the other one. So there he has a lot of influences that makes his music unique.
Okay.
Okay, so
That
what you have to do is listen a lot of music and try to recreate what you like.
well, of course, don't claim when you recreate because I know some artists
Yes.
who have
This is so
who have
important.
quite literally recreated what they heard, and I'm like, why
No.
does this sound like Marshmallow? Why does this sound
Yeah.
like
Basically
Mike?
because what you are doing, there are a people that is doing the same. So why you have to do the same as other people? You have to do your own thing, not the same. You know?
Yeah, so you kind of have to
Y-
like well you do the same and you don't at the same time. When you learn, you do the same. You repeat steps. You learn the basics and fundamentals, and then you kind of expand your horizon as you grow. and then like that's when you probably should start like once you have like your own sound and you know you have your own sound. And trust me, you will know when you have your own sound because
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, I've never heard this before," and you would think that people don't say this. They say this uh, out loud. I mean, of course, you can sound like any EDM artist, and not to say Rax, no offense, but it's just EDM how it is. You got your generic sounds, and like even in some of Rax's music, even in some of my music, you hear some of those sounds are very generic. But there are certain things, for example, like you have to separate, but that comes in like time. That takes a lot of time to do. You once you kind of build it, you got like eat, sleep, and breathe music. So
Yeah.
uh, that's awesome advice. Yeah. Is there any like final thoughts you want to say or anything? Because we're almost out of time.
Yes, just one thing. When you start being a good producer or like making good music, is when you understand that the thing is not the sound you use. If not, like you have to know that the importance of your music is the silence that it has. Because if you listen to silence, okay, you will hear that it's perfect, as a perfect sound. You can listen to silence. It is difficult because for me, if I try to listen to the silence, my brain starts like trying to make melodies or
Oh my
reproducing
gosh.
music. Okay, but when you can listen to the silence, is there where you can focus on your music, and you will have to start making this. You have to start knowing that the importance of a song is not the sound, is the silence that has. As much silence it have a song, more it's more perfect, as more organized, more, because the music is not the notes, it's the space between the notes. Okay,
Mm,
and this is so important to know. You have to try to produce like if you are gonna make a song, it's just silence. Okay, like a silent song, just silence,
like a
like
silent
four
film.
minutes 5 minutes of nothing. Okay, you have to have this objective, because the next thing you will create will be something better than that, and this will go up. It's a little bit difficult to explain, but well, if you have to think about it, and you'll find your own sound also.
Yeah, and on silence, I have the same problem. I think any musician does, and crap, I forget what the name of the chamber is. I think it's anechoic chamber or I can never pronounce it correct, but there's a chamber. There's a place. There's a couple places in the world. It's a chamber. I think Microsoft has one. There's only a couple of them in the world, but I know some colleges too. I think there's one at not Cambridge, but I think trying to think might be Cambridge. I'm not too sure. It's at a prestigious school, but uh they put a violinist in there and they were going absolutely crazy because it's actually absolute silence there.
Yeah.
Because we're never in absolute silence. So that's always a thing. But they put a violinist in there and they're just going crazy because they can't be in silence. So it is always interesting the psychology behind that. But like once music kind of becomes your life, you kind of like you're constantly just can't be in silence. So it's something
Yes.
that is definitely hard to master. So I completely respect any artist who can be in silence because for me, like even when I sleep, I have to have something. I have background noise or
Yeah,
something.
but it's so necessary to also try to listen the silence. It's necessary, and it's also helpful for you, because you are constantly listening to something, and
Mm.
and well, silence is also a sound. It's a sound that doesn't have volume. Okay, so if you are trained to listen to it, it is also, I will say, it will help you. Okay, it is something that also helps you to focus, also to be more creative also.
Mm.
So it is important to try. It is difficult, but you have to try.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Raxer, for everything and for being my guinea pig for the first artist interview. So hopefully this all went well, and we'll find out once I'm done with this meeting. But thank you again for joining us. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have today.
Okay. So, well, thank you all, also for you and also for all the people who is looking to us now. And well, hope we can talk another time and a little bit better because this is the first time and maybe it is not the best we can do.
For sure. And if anyone wants to chat with anybody we do artist interviews with, most of the artists that I will be interviewing are on our Discord. So come join the Den community. There's tons of artists like Raxer Sound on there. You'd be surprised. There's some actually more bigger artists. There's some really small artists. You have all the Devil Den artists. You have me, Tyler, and then like there's just tons of people, and it's a great community to learn some things. So thank you again. Anyways, that would be it for the interview today. So thank you everybody for joining us.